You're listening to the Be Engaged and Inspired Wedding Podcast.
One of the things I sort of wanted to cover was that custom part or other things that you can light up. Sometimes people don't think about. I'm just going to give a quick example of like a cake. What are the different ways you guys can light up a cake?
So you can obviously put some uplighting behind a cake to add some color to the wall behind it. You can pin spot or wash the cake itself. We also do a lot of custom wood chandeliers with Edison bulbs hanging off them. So somebody comes in and says, hey, my head table is 16 feet long. It's going to be in a barn. We want to do this really cool light fixture over it. And so we'll literally build something just for them. Yeah, again, never want to light something that you don't want people to pay attention to.
Welcome to the Be Engaged and Inspired Wedding Podcast.
A simple warning. We know many of you are planning a wedding right now. We may be tempted to drop an F-bomb or other descriptive words. Keep this in mind if you have small children in the room or are on a Zoom call. You've been warned.
The Be Engaged and Inspired Wedding Podcast.
Let's be honest, planning a wedding is tricky. And at Be Engaged and Inspired, we'll share our knowledge to help you navigate these tricky waters and leaving you feeling inspired.
The Be Engaged and Inspired Wedding Podcast is sponsored by EasyEventPlanning.com. They make planning any event fast and easy. EasyEventPlanning.com. And now your hosts, Kia and DJ Sam.
Welcome to the Be Engaged and Inspired, the Wedding Podcast. Busy day today. I'm DJ Sam from Atmosphere Productions.
And I'm Kia from Engage, Connecticut. And we do have two guests who agreed to return.
I don't know why.
Yeah, we made it back.
And you guys are from?
Rob Alberti from Rob Alberti's Event Services.
And Pat Burrell from the same place.
Okay. It's Wednesday, Sam, and do you have some inspiration for us?
Oh,
I can ruin after?
I'm going to inspire you. You know why we do this, Kia? Because the podcast is called the Be Engaged and Inspired Wedding Podcast. So we have to inspire, and then, of course, you're going to take them down.
Yeah, well, I'm going to share from the 1913 Don'ts for Wives, which used to be a standard gift that was given to wives at their weddings.
Oh, God.
Or at their showers.
Hashtag me too. Okay, here we go. Our inspirational quote is, what counts in making a happy marriage is not so much how compatible you are, but how you deal with incompatibility. By Leo Tolstoy.
Okay, well, mine is don't be jealous of your husband's acquaintances with other women. You don't want him to think you are the nicest woman in the world because he never sees any others, but because he sees plenty and still feels that you are the only one in the world for him.
That's awful.
Once again, from the 1913 Don'ts for Wives. Okay, we have a wedding tip, too?
We do, because there's nothing really you can say after that. There really isn't.
We could actually just end right now.
Wedding Tip Wednesday is available on the Be Engaged and Inspired Facebook group page every Wednesday. Join the group for free.
Wedding Tip Wednesday is brought to you by Emerge Cosmetics. Are you ready to emerge? A new line of luxurious lipsticks and lip glosses created with the intention of empowerment and coming into who you truly are. Strong, beautiful, and confident. Use the Be Engaged and Inspired Wedding Podcast coupon code EBI10 at shopemergecosmetics.com for an instant 10% discount. That's coupon code EBI10 for 10% discount at shopemergecosmetics.com. Emerge as the true you.
You're listening to the Be Engaged and Inspired Wedding Podcast.
Now syndicated on the Wedding Talk channel on YouShook.com radio network, America's radio station.
Today's Wedding Tip Wednesday is an important one. Certain bridal items provided by wedding vendors sometimes get lost, misplaced, or forgotten entirely. Compile all your wedding vendors' emergency numbers, not just their daytime office numbers. Put them in a book, address book, index card, iPhone, smartphone, tablet.
Hand it over to your wedding planner.
There you go. That's why we have Kia, see, because she inserts these beautiful tips. And share this list with your reception site, your wedding planner, your parent, your best man, your wedding planner.
You're not sharing it with your best man. They're not going to know where that piece of paper went.
And your maid of honor and your wedding planner. This way, the mishap doesn't turn into a wedding disaster.
Okay, and who brings us our Wedding Tip Wednesday? A nice local company?
Yes, it's Lauren from Emerge Cosmetics. She does a fantastic job. You were saying they deliver so quickly. Mm-hmm. We ordered some last year, and they got here within a week. Yeah. It was fantastic. Don't forget to use the Be Engaged and Inspired Wedding Podcast coupon code EBI10 at shopemergecosmetics.com for an instant, I said instant, 10% discount. That's coupon code EBI10 BI10 for 10% discounts at shopemergecosmetics.com. Emerge as the true you.
Okay, Rob and Pat, we're glad that you guys actually agreed to come back and sit with us again.
We heard there was alcohol.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So before we get started, what's the easiest way for people to contact you, find you on social media, website, all that info?
RobAlberti.com is the website, and all the social channels at DJ Rob Alberti.
And that is DJ ROBALBERTI.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
that's important.
Now, Rob, I've known you for tons of years.
Just a while.
So, as full disclosure, we're both DJs, and we've both been doing this quite a while. We invited Rob to come on down here and talk about lighting. So,
Yeah, well, he was here earlier in the season talking about lighting, and we discussed all the different types of lighting. And once again, just so we can refresh people's minds, why do you encourage people to light up their event?
Everybody's inspired when it comes to wedding and lighting from Instagram, Pinterest, and that's what they always go, I want my wedding to be like this. And you're like, absolutely, it's just going to cost you some money.
And obviously, with working with you guys being professionals, you guys carry insurance, you understand. You're not showing up an hour before everybody's in the tent to start hanging things up, I'm assuming.
Correct. When we're talking our Berkshire weddings, typically those venues only do one wedding a weekend. So we're literally setting up on Thursdays and Fridays
That must be nice.
That
for
makes a
Saturday and
difference.
Sunday weddings, and then tearing down on Sundays or Mondays, depending on when they're done.
Beautiful.
But then, obviously, like I said, if it's a place that does a ton of weddings, then you have a little bit of a...
You're also limited to what you can do just because of the sheer amount of time it takes to install lights.
Okay, so that's an important thing to know.
And that's explained to the client up front. If they say they want, chandeliers hung, twinkle, twinkle lights, up lighting, upstairs, outside, you have to explain to them about the time involved, right?
Right. So if the wedding before them ends at 5 and their wedding starts at 7, there's no way you're going to do it.
See, just disappointment. No, I'm just kidding. But but I think sometimes people think like you just walk in and
Yeah. Or the ones that think that they can have the tables being set up and the glassware being installed at the same time you're hanging the lights above them.
You can't.
Ew. Well, I mean, you're magical. You're just hanging things in open space anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
We've been known to drop things, so you don't want to do that on a completed table.
Yeah.
Okay, so last time, like I said, we discussed all the different types of lightings and why we do lighting, and but now one of the things I sort of wanted to cover was that custom part or other things that you can light up that sometimes people don't think about. I'm just going to give a quick example of like a cake. What are the different ways you guys can light up a cake?
So you can obviously put some uplighting behind a cake to add some color to the wall behind it. You can pin spot or wash the cake itself in a color. So just a nice warm pin spot white light on the cake just to highlight it in the room. You can do the same thing with every one of your tables or the centerpieces on the table.
So it's like a little tiny spotlight that's basically...
Little tiny. Kind of think theater and somebody's standing on stage and you're lighting that one person on stage.
That's a good way to describe it. And obviously that depends on the facility.
Depends on the facility, how much room you have, if there's anything above to be able to connect the lights to. So all those are things that happen when we do our site visit to figure out what's actually capable and what you can't do in a specific space.
So if a couple comes to you and says, it's really important to me that my cake is lit up, like you guys obviously discuss placement in the room, what's your best place to do that? Some people like to put the cake like right behind them or right next to them, which like then there's like a half-eaten cake next to you as the night goes on, but that's just me.
Correct. Well, you should take that way.
Yeah. But obviously you will say like, I can't do it here, but I can do it here.
Correct. Same thing goes for if somebody wants to hang something over a dance floor that's in a space where there's just nothing above it to hang from. You have to negotiate sometimes the layout going, hey, I need a spot over here in order to put a light tree at or a piece of truss to hang things off of.
And you want to explain what a trust is for those people who don't know what that is? I mean, it's not talking about us trusting each other. I'm just like...
Truss, Truss,
okay.
no T. Piece of aluminum fixture, typically you're talking like a 10 inch by 10 inch beam that you cover with material and light up from the inside or hang a light off of in order to hide it in a room.
It's like scaffolding.
Well, a lot prettier than scaffolding.
And a lot lighter.
Yeah, that's for sure. And one thing, that's important is when we're thinking and we're working through with couples on these things is like, we're not going to put it in the center of the dance floor in the middle of your room where everyone can see it.
Why not?
Which we've seen from other places in the past, but we're looking to hide those things so that you get the beautiful enhancement, kind of like the magic we were talking about the last time we were here of just kind of making things lit up from seemingly nowhere.
Because I think that's key. Once again, lots of times where people think like, oh, I can just do this myself, or I got a really good price. Usually that really good price means that you're going to have something in the way.
Yeah. We also do a lot of custom wood chandeliers with Edison bulbs hanging off them. So somebody comes in and says, hey, my head table is 16 feet long. It's going to be in a barn. We want to do this really cool light fixture over it. And so we'll literally build something just for them.
That's pretty cool. Because I think that's something, like sometimes we'll see that on Pinterest and they'll obviously not realize how much time it took to build it.
We did it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, so you can really say to somebody, like when you're meeting with a couple and they're sort of describing their vision and they're giving you inspiration, how do you take that over to figure out these custom pieces? And
there's all these really weird sketches I have in my notebook. and I start wandering around Home Depot figuring out how I'm going to make this thing. And you're like, okay, I can do that.
Has there ever been anything that you haven't been able to build?
There are things that we have to kind of negotiate with people going,
you can just say no.
We can do this, but it's going to cost you a lot of money. Or, we can do it kind of this way, which is really close to what you found on Instagram or Pinterest. Mm-hmm. And that'll, give you that same effect. We got a client coming up in September where she saw these really cool wood hanging pendant lights in a tent. And I was like, I can do that. And so I immediately start sketching things out, contact my fabricator, and he starts welding things up for us. And we created custom pendants for her.
Wow.
That you can use again now.
Shh.
But I think that's a key point, because sometimes I think we see things, and sometimes like family members have like that one great handy uncle or dad who can build something, and they see it and they just think it's like a automatic thing that every person who does lighting has. Like you have chandeliers. How many chandeliers do you have?
Oh man.
I
like watching Rob's, like what you've built just to carry the chandelier. That's what I actually get the biggest kick out of when I see it online.
Probably 20 some odd.
And you go from metal that has crystals, you have wooden ones that have Edison lights.
Metal, wood, crystal chandeliers, wrought iron chandeliers, some beautiful birdcage chandeliers that we just bought. And just every time I turn around, I was like, oh, crap, where am I going to store this?
and really nothing's off the table, because sometimes I'll get a text from Rob. I recently learned how to weld aluminum, kind of. And he'll be like, so prototype, you need to go get some aluminum and this is what I need. Can you try it? And I'm like, sure, why not? So really nothing's
That's what you
off
guys
the table.
do during technically off season, which is never off season for you guys, but
it doesn't ever stop. Our lighter maybe season.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a disco ball with just like a light somewhere and it just spins? Do you?
We have done a lot of disco ball installs.
I think we
this year.
probably have like 30 to 50 disco balls.
Different sizes.
Different sizes. Yeah. Big thing nowadays is people doing the disco ball cluster over the dance floor.
Yeah.
So it'll be, 8 or 10 disco balls all in one big cluster over the dance floor.
Nobody has epilepsy.
You know what's funny about this is when I started DJing back in the 70s, that was high tech.
Yeah.
3 disco balls all in the middle of the dance floor with different colored lights shining. That was high tech for me in 76. Now it's back again.
Everything comes back inside.
Everything comes back.
And same thing with like the paper lanterns. I mean, for a while, paper lanterns were everywhere, and then they sort of died out, and now they're sort of making...
We get calls where I've got an entire cabinet filled with paper lanterns. What color you want? Well, okay, we're hanging them up.
Yeah, because I don't think also people realize it's not like you can't just like fluff it and like put it right up in the air. You have to like open it carefully. You have to put that hanger in there, not rip it as a person who rips them continuously. And there's a lot of cursing. But yeah. Okay, so we're going to go to commercial, and we'll be back to discuss more custom lighting, details that you can light up, and everything else.
The Be Engaged and Inspired Wedding podcast will be right back.
Emerge Cosmetics. Are you ready to emerge?
I bought this lipstick after my wedding trial with Lauren and instantly fell in love with it. It is smooth and creamy, and the color is beautiful.
This is Lauren Simpson from Emerge Cosmetics, a professional makeup artist with over a decade of experience in the beauty industry. That's the reaction we're getting from our new line of carefully curated lip products that wear well and feel comfortable. These are a must-have for your collection. All products are made in the USA, cruelty-free, gluten-free, and most are vegan. Shop emergecosmetics.com for lipsticks and lip glosses that not only feel great, but last for hours in an array of different colors. Free shipping on orders over $100. Use the Be Engaged and Inspired Wedding Podcast coupon code EBI10 at shopemergecosmetics.com for an instant 10% discount. That's coupon code EBI10 for 10% discount at shopemergecosmetics.com. Emerge as the true you.
When your wedding entertainment has to have amazing music, be fun, organized, and professional, your choice has to be Atmosphere Productions. DJs, live musicians, custom lighting, and photo booths. As seen on the TLC TV series 4 Weddings, winner of the Wedding Wire Couples Choice Award and DJ Times DJ of the Month. Experience the difference. www.atmosphere-productions.com. That's www.atmosphere-productions.com.
Hey, Sam, when it comes to finding the right professional vendor, it can seem overwhelming to know where to start.
It can, Kia, unless you use easyeventplanning.com, because they'll find perfect vendors for your event within your budget and deliver them right to your inbox. You can search through over 28 categories of party and wedding services. Get the details you need to narrow down your choices quickly with their category-specific profiles. Chat with vendors via text, audio, or video from any device.
EasyEventPlanning.com will make planning your wedding or event easy, from their extensive vendor directory to their free tips on favors, decorations, themes, and more. Contact them today at EasyEventPlanning.com.
Engaged Connecticut is a one-of-a-kind wedding business. We offer a selection of wedding venues along with planning and design services. Hire a wedding planner for your dream backyard, ballroom, or vineyard wedding, and many more. We have numerous creative wedding venues that offer you the opportunity to plan your wedding the way you envision. Find us at engagedct.com, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok Engaged Connecticut.
Heidi Hansen Photography. Fun, happy, a little unorthodox, sometimes silly, with lots of candid. Hi, this is Heidi from Heidi Hansen Photography. www.heidihansenphotography.com. I like being goofy with my couples, making them laugh, and overall just having a blast on their wedding day. Every wedding day is different, and that is what keeps my job super awesome. I service Connecticut and New York. You can find me on www.heidihansenphotography.com and also on social media.
Everyone is talking about the DJ Pauly Show on YouShook.com.
Hi everyone, this is Keith Urban, and you're listening to the number one DJ on the planet, DJ Pauly.
What's going on, everybody? This is Charles,
Hillary,
and Dave, and we are
Lady Antebellum.
And you're listening to the number one DJ on the internet. It's DJ Pauly, y'all.
Hey y'all, I'm Kelsey Ballerini, and you're listening to the number one DJ on the internet. It's DJ Pauly, y'all.
The DJ Pauly Show on YouShook.com. We dare to be different. Join us and see for yourselves.
Now back to the Be Engaged and Inspired Wedding podcast, sponsored by EasyEventPlanning.com. They make planning any event fast and easy. EasyEventPlanning.com. With your hosts, Kia and DJ Sam.
Welcome back to Be Engaged and Inspired the Wedding podcast. Here with Rob and Pat, and we're discussing lighting. The next thing on our list is something very interesting that you don't hear too much about. Tell us what it is, Rob.
Wood arches over tables. Specifically, most people are doing it over their head table, where we can hang Edison bulbs off of them, and then the florist comes in and covers them completely with greenery.
Oh,
they're really pretty.
They're amazing.
Isn't that? Now, explain what that wooden arch is. Is it just a plain wooden arch, or you've done something to it?
Just like 3 pieces of plywood that you just stuck up there, and you're.
That's what I would do.
Not quite plywood, but they're I think they're 6-inch by 6-inch wood beams. Okay. You know, up on each side of the table and then across the top. Most of ours are designed for the standard 8-foot tables, but we can create them around the larger farm tables as well. Then they have a series of really cool, different style Edison bulbs hung over the entire thing on dimmers. So you can dim them down because they are bright.
And just explain what an Edison bulb is for those that don't know.
It's that old-fashioned bulb that has a really funny-looking filament in it.
Now, when people decide to do that, obviously saying the dimmer part of it, but how is this just standing up and not falling over?
Weighted bases.
Okay.
And so that there's a metal base on the ground that holds them all up, and then they all kind of pop in together. And
just like you'd have to like really try to take it down.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the other thing. Like, I always get people who are like, oh, we're going to make our own backdrop, or we're going to do this own thing, and one gust of wind comes, and
Seeing that.
it's gone.
Yeah. We actually got a wedding coming up in upstate New York where we're doing, I think there's 5 of them outside over tables. The entire wedding's going to be outside.
That's got to look awesome.
Yeah. It's going to be amazing.
Do you want to knock on wood next to you so it's not going to rain?
Well, it'll never rain. Come on.
I didn't know that you could control
Never rains on
It
wedding
never
days.
rains in Southern Connecticut.
that. Yeah, it just snows and does sleet and everything else, but not rain. Literally not rain. What other custom pieces of lighting do you guys like do? Like, obviously, last time we discussed, you can monogram a ceiling, or you can monogram like a dance floor, or what?
Yeah, we can kind of monogram anything. We've kind of like covered a whole lot of ground with some of the pattern lighting we do too. So, front of a building, we could do a monogram of the couple's initials or the wedding date, kind of anything. It's all custom these days. Or if you wanted like a pretty autumn leaves pattern kind of across the front of the building, we can use a few fixtures to do that. And we've got tons of patterns, and we also have the flexibility to, kind of reach out to the people we work with in the manufacturing space to
Right, and I know
create those.
I've hired you guys to do, I think it was snowflakes across a ceiling. Now, you might think that it's easy to just to do a snowflake pattern on the ceiling, but it really isn't. It's not just as easy as cutting out a snowflake and then projecting it onto a wall.
Yeah,
you just gave somebody a DIY idea. That's the wrong one.
I hope I didn't.
Yeah, there's a fair amount of math that goes into it. I've got a theater lighting background, and like that has certainly helped. But Rob and I do a lot of math in the background when we're kind of deciding how to do those kinds of pattern.
You mean
lights.
you just don't plug it in and boom, there it is?
Believe it or not, no.
I know there's an issue too of making sure that it's in like focus and
it's at the right angle.
And you can understand it. Because I have been at weddings where I'm like, ooh, like where, I know who's getting married, and I'm not exactly sure what their initial is unless I stand at like one.
It's backwards.
Or if you're in the right spot. And that's the other thing is it has to look good from as many different angles as it possibly can.
Correct.
Absolutely right.
And that placement too is just so important, because even the placement of the actual lighting fixture and knowing what you need to put it in that specific spot so that it's not hitting grandma like right in the dead in the eyes, right? Like, it's not at that eye level. It's somewhere to not be seen.
Yep.
I think monograms have sort of taken a back seat, but I also am starting to see them coming back a little bit. But people do it on the dance floor, they do it on the ceiling, and they can you can do walls. Is there any type of walls and stuff that you hate projecting things onto?
Darker walls you got to be a little careful about, or ones that already have some version of pattern on them, because then you get pattern on pattern. It gets a little confusing.
Dark wood ceilings.
Yep, dark wood ceilings are no fun.
White tent tops in the daytime. Typically,
I never would have thought of that.
You can't see anything.
So, the curse of doing outdoor weddings, especially in these days, is always knowing when sunset is.
Yeah. It's an important part of it. But I didn't think about the fact that you have probably people who say like, oh, we're getting married at like 11 o'clock. Yeah. I want my ceiling to look like this Pinterest photo of like beautiful colors. And it's just not going to.
Not unless they're going to hide all the windows in the building.
Yeah. And the photo's at like, 9 p.m. in winter. So it's been dark for 4 hours.
Yeah. That's the other part of it too. So like, I don't think. Also, like, I'm always not necessarily shocked anymore, but I'm always interested in the fact, like, even when the sun goes down and it's still light, and then all of a sudden it's instantaneously dark, and that's when everything pops. But you need to be able to have somebody who's adjusting that lighting as you're going, which obviously you guys do.
And again, got to dim those lights if people are going to dance.
It's always key. We want to dim the lights too.
So important. Yes.
Say you've been highlighting the cake all day or all night. Do you, once the cake has disappeared off that table, is the light off?
Shut the light off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Again,
Agreed.
You never want to light something that you don't want people to pay attention to.
And I think that's a difference between a professional and an amateur, in the sense of a lot of times people will come and set things up and then they just go away and they come back the next day or the whatever. And I know for you guys, you leave people there who can.
Correct. We typically have a light tech on hand, especially when we're talking, again, tented weddings or running everything off of generator. Our light techs are literally trained electricians standing by in case something happens.
Hire a professional. Can't say it enough.
I've been saying it for years. You always argue with me about it. But I think that's a really a key point, because obviously fuses can blow. Houses are sometimes not set up to do what they think they're able to do. And having somebody who can step in and say, okay, well, that doesn't work, but I can figure out a different solution. I can plug into here and I can move this part of it and I can put these strings onto this lighting, or we're going to attach to this part of it. You guys know instantaneously when, like, oh shit, this is what we have to do.
Always blame the coffee pot.
Oh, it is always the coffee pot.
It's always the coffee pot.
It's the coffee pot, or it's the iron that someone is.
The iron.
That happens early. Coffee pot is always later.
That's true.
Just at the wrong time.
I literally was standing at the end of Mount Pleasant once with like an iron in my hand, and I was like, oh, I just became this person. I just blew all the fuses. Yeah. I mean, granted, nobody else was in the barn with me, but I was trying to do something because it was driving me nuts, and I was just like, I just became that horrible human being who just blew, that I know how to go fix it. So
now, thinking into the future, Pat and I are very excited because we have a Ford F-150 Lightning, the new electric truck, both on order. And we will literally be able to run a wedding off of the truck if anything ever happens.
Okay. Let's say they stay later. Can you guys get home?
That's a great question. Yes. I haven't answered yet.
And can we test it?
They say that you can run your house for 3 days or more off of the truck.
Yeah.
Oh, so we could have like a weekend kegger.
Literally, I think we can run an entire wedding off of the truck.
But can you pull the truck into a ballroom?
Can't, but I can run a cable in through the window.
See, you have the answer. This just shows you that you're a professional. So once again, how can people find you guys?
All the social medias, it's at DJ Rob Alberti or robalberti.com.
And that is ROBALBERTI.
Okay, Sam.
I want to remind you about something very important. The official new bride name change kit. It's a complete name change kit for new brides and same-sex marriage couples, containing instructions, checklists, all the government forms for you to complete, plus labels for your envelopes, and it's customized for your states and local jurisdiction. Everything you need just to open that pretty pink box and get ready to go from Miss to Mrs. or Mr. to Mr. without any hassle. The official new bride name change kit. Use the Be Engaged and Inspired Wedding podcast code link in the show notes, or visit atmosphere-productions.com. That's atmosphere-productions.com. That's atmosphere-productions.com. Select the podcast link and click on the namechangekit.com banner. Clicking on the link doesn't cost you anything, but your purchase will help compensate us and keep this podcast alive.
And remember, we are here every single Wednesday. If you have a question or a comment, you can email us at engagect@gmail.com. You can download us for free wherever you get your favorite wedding podcasts. And we are exclusively on the Wedding Talk channel on youshook.com radio, YouTube, Mixcloud, and everywhere else. And we'll be here again next week with Sam. And thanks, Rob and Pat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
The Be Engaged and Inspired Wedding podcast is sponsored by EasyEventPlanning.com. They make planning any event fast and easy. EasyEventPlanning.com. This podcast is produced and copyright by Atmosphere Productions in association with Engaged Connecticut.